So I've put in 1.5 cups of oat flour, 1 cup of buckwheat flour, 1.5 cups of potato starch, 3 tablespoons of the psyllium husk, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, and then to allow it to mix better when I go add the moist ingredients, then I'll just go ahead and mix this dry mixture and blend it really well. Those dark specks is part of the buckwheat flour. It's some insoluble fiber. And then I have the starter here. I fed this last night. So last night there was this much in the jar, and so you can see, well, last night there was this much in the jar, and so you can see all the little air bubbles in there. That's the bacteria or the yeast doing its job and fermenting that. So I'll take out about 3/4 of it and add it in here. Just like that. You see how nice and fluffy that is. And then we'll add about 350 milliliters of warm water. Those numbers are not exact. Sometimes I put 400, sometimes I put 350, and it's too dry and I have to add a little bit more, and just mix that up. So it's going to be a bit runny. So yeah, that's too dry. Add a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Once this is all well combined, you just let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll be back then. Alrighty, so now this is set here for about 15 or 20 minutes. So you can see that it's it's kind of soaked up, the psyllium husk soaked up all the liquid. So now I'm going to add some more flour. I keep that in the bucket in the pantry, so I'm just going to sprinkle some flour on here. And then do the same thing on this side. Not an exact science, just so that it's coated and not sticking to the side of the bowl too much. Now I could use my fingers for that, but I just don't like to get all the dough on my fingers. So it's really more just like to get it all coated. Sometimes I like to take the bowl and just kind of roll it around like that. You don't want to mix a bunch more flour in there, because then the dough gets too dry and then the bread gets really dry. And then I'll just take this this pan. I got a piece of parchment in there. And I just lay that in there. And then I set it in the oven for 3 or 4 hours. My oven has a proofing feature, so it just kind of runs at around 100 degrees. And I'll set it in for 3 or 4 hours, and then after that I'll bake it. So I'll bake it. You could also make this in the evening and then set it in the fridge overnight. Just put some plastic cover over top so it doesn't dry out too much. And then you don't have to proof it any longer. You just leave it in the fridge for like 12 hours and the sourdough will work while it's in the refrigerator. But then once you take it out, you bake it at 450 for about 40 minutes. And then you turn it down to 350 for another 20 minutes. And then you take it out and let it cool in the rack and it'll be all done. Hope that's helpful.